What's going on, people? Welcome back to the live match reaction. Aston Villa 1, Palace 0. We're going to be discussing the game in much more detail. As always, we want to have your say. We want to hear what you guys think. Going to show the link is going to be posted in just a minute, so you can click on a link and join us via audio or video to have your say on the game. As always, we'll be reading out the comments as well. So if you do enjoy the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on future Palace content. And in fact, I'm going to post a link right now so you guys can click on the link and have your say right now. We'll open up the lines and we'll have you on in just a second. I had this discussion with Patrick. I am fuming today. I am absolutely fuming because, I mean, we had 0.17 expected goals. We were absolutely spineless today going forward. Pathetic going forward. We had nothing going forward. We also conceded even in the second half some big chances as well. Honestly, we talking about the starting lineup, we had arguably one of the strongest lineups that we can have all season. Zaha started, Eze started, Elise was on the pitch. You had Lukonga in midfield that we've been praising, Anderson, Gahey in defense, Mitchell back. So the lineup, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think where the problem started is the fact that we keep playing players out of position. Zaha is not a striker. And I've said this every single time he's played for us. And I'm not saying that you can't play up front, but he's not striking the system because we can't give the ball up to him. You can't have our best players getting the least amount of touches going forward. You can't have that. And he's not involved as much going forward when he's playing up front. He's not a striker. Eze shouldn't be playing out wide because he's not a wide player. He's a number 10. He was never a wide player. The reason he's been playing out wide is because Zaha's been missing. We're playing players out of position. But not only that, apart from the goal that we scored, what type of patterns of play did we have going forward today? What was we actually trying to do? Because I watched 90 minutes plus 5 of that, and I still don't know what we were trying to do going forward. Was we trying to have overlaps and cross into the box? I mean, we had a few crosses here and there, but there was no strikers there. Like, honestly, I've backed Vieira, and you guys know this. I've backed Vieira. I'm not Vieira. I'm not saying that. But today is the first time I genuinely watched a Palace game, and I said, what on earth was we planning to do? What on earth was we actually planning to do on the pitch? What was our actual mission? We kept possession. That was nice. Our press in the first half, that wasn't existent. I mean, we tried to press, but it was absolutely pathetic. We just played it through them. It's like the players didn't know what to do. That improved in the second half. But why wasn't that case in the first half? I mean, why was we so bad with our press in the first half? It was so easy. Villa absolutely deserved it. And we're leaving this game with our best forwards against a side that was only one place above us, and we barely created anything. Now, if that's not slight for concern, then I don't know what is. Because this game gave me no optimism. No optimism. I was looking forward to it, but they absolutely let us down today with a performance. And it's not only the players. I get the players on the pitch, even the manager today. I have to look at the manager today. Because I honestly don't know what was doing. What was our actual objective in this game? But that's enough of my rant. I'll give it over to you, Patrick, because I know you have different views to what I was saying. But I am absolutely pissed off, like beyond belief. I'm trying to stay calm, but I can't stay calm. I can't stay calm after what I've just seen. It's not good enough for the players that we got out there.
So I'm upset too, but I'm not going to yell and scream at you or Stan or anyone else. But the thing for me is that despite what everybody else says, I understand why he plays Zaha up front because of the goal that he scored, which is called off by whatever millimeters. But to me, yeah, the manager did not do a great job today because I thought the subs were a bit strange, to say the least. But for me, the players have to be held more accountable. If you want Elise, Eze, and Zaha to start, then Elise, Eze, and Zaha have to perform. And Zaha, besides the goal attempt, he's been out for 3-4 matches, didn't play well. Elise did not play well, was not involved in the game, couldn't cross a ball to save his life from a free kick or a corner kick. Eze, you say you don't like him out wide left. I understand that, D, but he played well out left against Liverpool. He did well against left against Brentford. I prefer him in a more central role, personally, but the manager wants to put him out wide. Okay, didn't perform today. The own goal changed the entire game for me. The own goal, which at that point was an issue that if you go back and watch it again, Eze decided to go to press, then doesn't press. The guy gets the ball down the right, crosses the ball, Matty Cash. I believe it was Matty Cash, right? Yeah. And Anderson couldn't let it go, obviously, because if he lets it go, Watkins had to tap in and gets an own goal. Again, happens to us way too many times. It's frustrating. It is what it is. But yeah, blame the manager. And again, I'm with you on that, D, but it's not because of who he picks. It's because when he picks you, you got to perform, and he didn't perform. Now, very quickly, let's get to the Zaha issue. All right, you don't want to start Zaha up front. Great, play him out left. Then who do you start up front? It can't be JP because JP obviously is not good enough. You start Edouard. But Edouard is not performing. He's not being picked. And he's not getting picked for a reason. I don't know what it is, but clearly there's an issue. If you read or listened to the embargoed comments that Vieira made, he said he wants to get Edouard. He wants to get Edouard so upset that he'll perform better. Whether it's he's not doing well in training, he's not doing well in the matches, or whatever it is. Even today, he wasn't picked to come off the bench, which for me is startling. But for me, that's on Edouard, man. You'll get paid a lot of money. Let me just finish. Have a reason to get picked, because if you're not getting picked, blame the manager. Okay, he didn't pick him, but perform when you get on, and you'll get picked. But again, you want to say, okay, Vieira should have picked him. I'm not arguing at that point. Edouard should have started. But again, there's something going on we don't know about. It has to be resolved because Edouard needs to play and needs to score.
This is not even on Edouard. Look, I want Edouard to start, but we should be doing better even without Edouard on the pitch. We had Elise, Zaha, Eze all starting. And also, with the Edouard conversation, you say Edouard ain't good enough to start, right? And he's had this problem. Vieira saying that as well.
No.
Vieira saying that as well. No,
I
but Vieira saying
Vieira's not picking. Okay, fine.
Vieira said that. So if Edouard is that bad and he's absolutely awful, he needs a point to prove. Why on earth is he on the bench?
Yeah, you're right.
Why is he an option?
Totally. You're right.
Why is he an option? Go on. Why is he an option? And who does that go on? That goes on a manager because he's an option off the bench, but then he still goes and selects JP, who's been having an absolute mare. Like, how can Edouard prove himself if you're not giving him the opportunities? And if he's that bad, don't have him on a bench. Don't have him on a bench. I don't get it. Is he that bad? Is he that much worse than JP?
D.
He ain't that much worse than JP. And he's still on the bench. So I don't know. For me, that's baffling. It absolutely is. Because the way he talks about Edouard, I get it, he has a point to prove. But he keeps him on the bench. Surely he ain't that bad. Surely even Vieira thinks, he can potentially do something, come off the bench. And if he doesn't think that, then don't have him on the bench. Drop him then. Drop him fully. Go ahead, Stan.
So, after 4 really, really tough games where we gave a good account of ourselves against some decent teams. I mean, Brighton, obviously, we got a bit of luck, etc., etc. We were, a split second away from winning away at Brentford. I actually went into this game today quite positive. I was looking forward to it. Wilf was back, etc., etc. I'm kind of lost for words to describe that performance. I just don't understand. Listen, and I'm not Vieira out either, but I'm beginning to look at the stats and I'm beginning to not understand a couple of things. Patrick, you're a stats man, so tell me, is it 1 win in 14? 1 win from 14 games?
I had to look it up. I'll look it up in a second. I'm
sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry. It's there or thereabouts. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He has attacking players. Like today, he had attacking players to create chances. What are we doing? Like, why were no chances created? Okay, you can say, obviously, there was an offside goal, etc., etc. It was typical of the Forest game, this performance, really. But people say, Villa weren't great. To be honest, Villa didn't have to be great because we were terrible. They didn't really have to do anything. And
sorry, Dan, it's 1 in 10. The last win was against Bournemouth.
Is it 1 in 10? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So my bad. 1 win in 10.
No yeah.
Let's be realistic. Villa haven't been great all season. They didn't need to be very good against us because we did nothing. The first half, Cash and McGinn absolutely ripped us to shreds. I don't know what Tyreek Mitchell was doing for that goal. Eze lost the ball in no man's land. Cash took it off him. Boom. You can blame Anderson all you want, but it's either he does that or Watkins gets a tapping right behind him. So you've got that there. Elise, deliveries, shocking. Last week, sublime he was. Absolutely sublime. Today, couldn't get past his man. Lethargic like the rest of them. Absolutely rubbish. Decore, worst game in a Palace shirt today. Worst game in a Palace shirt. Eze, he's not a winger. But Vieira constantly plays him on the left. Like, dude, you've got to play Wilf on the left, Elise on the right, Eze through the middle as a 10, and play one of these strikers, okay? I don't know what his vendetta is against Edouard. Edouard has scored some goals. He's been invisible in some games, etc., etc. He persists with JP. I don't know why he does that. He doesn't play the players in their best positions. I just, today as well, like, correct me if I'm wrong here, lads, but what's this? What were the tactics today? Ball over the top? I don't know, man. Like,
and that's why.
Sorry, but we've got City, Arsenal, Brighton. Okay, today was a big opportunity. I don't think we're going down. We were bloody lucky that Arsenal won in the last second, and other results went our way. We were bloody lucky. I'll tell you that. But something's got to change. Like, something's got to change. Like, he's got to start playing in a certain way, or like something's got to change, or this can't carry on. Like, we are sleeping towards stupidity. Well, we're already there at stupidity, but we're sleeping towards big, big trouble. Is what I'll say.
And I think that's why. Look, if you guys watch this, if you guys come onto the live match reactions week in, week out, I've backed Vieira for the whole time he's been there, and I'm not saying I'm Vieira out, but today, like, genuinely, like, if we have those players out on the pitch and we're still not creating any chances. And by the way, I don't agree with the Sky comment. That's why I brought it up, because Andrew saying Sky said we have too many dribblers and not enough creators. Spot on comment. I don't think that's the case. I think Zaha is a creator. I think Eze is a creator. I think Elise is a creator. But the thing is, we don't have nothing going forward. We don't have like, I'm watching other teams. I watch the likes of Brighton, and they have patterns of play. They have movement. They know what they're doing. Us, we don't have that. And that's when it goes down to the manager. Because these players are not just dribblers. They are creators, but it's just individuals. We don't have anything as a team.
To you and everyone else on this channel, forget about Brighton. They're in another stratosphere, lads. Forget them. They're much better than us. I said the same thing. When I watch other teams play, little triangles, pass it along here, boom, this, that, the other there. We don't do that. We haven't done it in years. Maybe last season we done it. But honestly, forget about Brighton, man. Like, there's not even any point comparing us to them. At this stage, I would probably compare us to a Villa and be like, we need to be matching them, or a Wolves, because Wolves picked up a big win today. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah, but that's forget about Brighton, but it's just the basics. It's not just, we're not playing Sunday League football. You need to have players that's on the same page. Today, I don't know what we was doing going forward. I genuinely don't. It was balls over the top. I think Elise tried to switch it. Like, it was just, we look clueless. And if we're looking clueless out there with our best players, arguably our best attacking players, with Zaha, Elise, Eze, then how on earth should I not be concerned? Because the reason why I was calm throughout this time when we haven't won games is because, one, we're facing tough opposition, and two, we didn't have our best players out there. But if we're having our best players out there, and I'm not saying Aston Villa's a bad side, but we should have been way more competitive than we were against Aston Villa.
You know what? They didn't have to be very good, because we were terrible.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where my concern lies. I mean, this was a game that you're looking to ideally, get something out of this game. Is a side that's not too far off the table. And that's the type of performance we put in. Now, I want to see what Vieira says after, because I really want to hear his comments, because I hope he's honest. I hope he knows that was terrible and that was unacceptable, because it was just awful. It was genuinely awful. I don't think and the mad thing is, we're coming off performances that we actually had some decent performances against sides that's been better than us. So
but you know what?
Why this? Why the sudden drop down when you have the better players on the pitch? Well, I think it's because players are playing out of position.
My biggest frustration here, and Patrick, you can maybe add to this a little bit, is why don't we create freaking chances? I know we created like the odd one here and there last week, but why don't we create freaking chances? Like, we've got the players to do it. We have. So what is going on?
He's playing them out of position. I think that's what's going on. He's playing them out of position, and that's not helping. And I don't understand it. I mean, Zaha, I agree with Patrick. Look, Patrick, I know you say that Zaha can play up front. And in theory, yes, I feel like he's got all the qualities to play up front. But the problem is, you saw it with the first goal. When he get the opportunity, he will take it. But the problem is, we don't put him in them positions. And that's why I don't want him to play up front. We don't put him in them positions because we don't have the players to create chances like that throughout the game. We had that one opportunity. That was great. But even against Forest, I remember he played up front. We had nothing for him. Absolutely nothing. And that's the reason why I don't want him to play up front, because he's the one that often creates in this side. And if he's not creating, then no one's creating for him. Absolutely no one. And we saw it today. What can he do if he's up front and he's getting barely any service? It's so easy to target him. So easy. But the thing is, I'm not letting Vieira get off the hook for that, because this has happened a few times now. It's not the first game he's played up front. And that's why when I saw the lineup,
I have a solution.
When I saw the lineup, I thought to myself, oh, fine, he's going to play Ayew up front. Because surely he knows that Zaha up front ain't working. But he still does the same thing. Zaha's up front. It just doesn't work because he doesn't get on the ball. He doesn't get on the ball. So what do they expect him to do when he can't have any moments of brilliance? You can't do it because of the position you put him in. And that's why it frustrates me. And that's why we've got some massive games coming up against some tough opponents and international break. Then we got some winnable games. But if we're going to play like that, we're not winning any. How many games are we going to win like that? We have to make changes drastically. I don't know what they're working in training ground, but we need to sort our attacking patterns or play.
No, in Palace, they'll go and beat City next week.
Knowing us, we might do. But look, I'll bring on Erin. He's been waiting for a bit. If you guys want to join in and have your say on the game and whatever you want to say about the manager.
I will say one thing before Erin comes on. I agree with you there. I think I would have just switched it straight away. I'd have gone play Ayew through the middle because that's actually his natural position, even though he plays here, there, and everywhere. I'd have played him through the middle, Zaha left, Elise right, and then we've got some threats. And he can rough up Tyrone Mings, etc., etc. I just don't know why he's not doing it, mate. Honestly, we were crap, but we look better with 10 men. We did. We look better with 10 men. And that ain't even... I don't know. Anyway.
It's frustrating. It's just frustrating. Like, I'm just lost for words, as you guys can say. Anyways, if you're enjoying the show, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I know we're a bit emotional today, passionate, however you want to say it, but I just can't. I can't. I'm not, as I always say, I won't hold myself back. When I'm happy, I'll be extremely happy. When I'm sad, I won't hide my feelings. And that's how I feel right now. I feel disappointed. I feel let down. And I feel just embarrassed watching that performance because it was an embarrassing performance. Embarrassing performance from players that should be doing better. And also, it was a bit not a bit upsetting. It was upsetting because I thought this manager should be getting more out of these players. But it's only one. It is only one game. I get it, but it's just very, 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 very frustrating. But look, let's bring on Erin. Erin, are you there?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry about the wait.
It's all right.
But yeah, Villa won, Palace 0. What did you make?
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna stick to my guns. Yeah, I've always said this from day one, bruv. Yeah, between me and you, I don't think Vieira's the man for the job. I just don't think he's experienced enough. I think he's a better football player than he's a manager, and that's okay because not everyone's cut out to be a manager. You can't question his footballing skills or his ability. He knows the game, but in terms of managing, I think he's tactically inept. Straight up, say it as it is, and I can see it. I've seen it from day one, and I saw it from day one from small things like playing Schlupp in centre mid non-stop instead of Hughes. And then suddenly when we started bringing Hughes on, Hughes looked much better. So it's proved that he was wrong for playing Schlupp in the first place. And then obviously we got Lokonga, Doucouré and all that back in. So we stopped playing Hughes because they are better than Hughes in centre mid. But from that small thing was when I could read that, I don't think that you have to start, it gets to a point where you got to say, look, everyone's seeing it. Why is he not? Ask yourself that. Everyone's seeing it. Why is he not? Why are you playing the wrong players in the wrong positions all the time, week in, week out? First of all, you can't keep doing that. You just can't. This is the Premier League. He's not experienced enough. He failed in France and he failed in the States. I don't think he's ready for the Premier League to be managing the Premier League, straight up. And you can see it week in, week out.
Let me ask you a question about last season, because now that I've let it all out, I'm going to try and be a bit more balanced in terms of the question. Last season, we were playing some good football. We went to an FA Cup semi-final as well. Do you think it's a case of he hasn't been backed enough this season? Because when you're looking at it in the first half, the one issue I found in the final climb was the target. And I've said this for years.
And Mitchell as well, though, dude.
Mitchell as well. Yeah, exactly. Our fullbacks as well. Our fullbacks haven't been up to standards. But Mitchell doesn't have competition, so we haven't backed him there. And the right back situation, I don't want to talk about it because I'll start getting mad again. I've said this for years. Just because a player has 1 or 2 good games and then 3 back, it doesn't mean that he's good enough for this level. But do you think there's other positions as well up front? I mean, we only have JP and Edouard. Do you think it's a case of this season, the reason why we have dropped off is because he hasn't been backed enough? With some of the players we brought in, great, but he's still not good enough.
Nah, I disagree. I think we've got enough at the moment, to stay mid-table and have slightly better form than we have now, straight up. I think this is down to his tactic. He's tactically inept. Yeah, we should be doing a bit better. Yeah, and genuinely, I think it's down to his wrong decision making, and I think there's an element of bad coaching as well. Yeah, his coaching staff. There's maybe they're letting the team down a bit as well. Maybe they're not helping him properly, or I don't know. Look, I don't know everything, but I can only see from what I'm saying by what I see. And for me, I think that it's definitely bad decisions are being made. And what happened last season was the buzz of having an idol, a football player, big guy like Patrick Vieira is a star of the game, coming to the club. All the players were buzzing to be around him. You could see it in the videos. There was a general vibe of buzzing around the club, and they were in high spirits. So they played well. It was like a honeymoon stage, but it was short-lived. Now the reality is setting in, and I don't actually think that he's making the decisions he should be making with the players he's got to make the best out of it, what he has. And I can give you an example.
Aaron, can I
Let me give you an example, For example, he in a centre forward role or cam. If Mateta's so good at holding the ball up, why don't you put Mateta in centre forward, play with a centre forward and a striker, so they can play off of one another? For example, Edouard's shit at holding the ball up. Play him as your out and out striker. Then put Mateta just behind him so he can hold the ball up. Then you got your 2 wingers running in behind as well. I don't understand why he doesn't use the players to their advantages. It just doesn't. I don't think he knows what he's doing, man. I've got to be honest with you. And you can see it. Every week you can see it. We look lost.
Aaron, all right, clearly you're not a Vieira fan, right? But you said you followed him in MLS. Do you know how he did in the MLS?
Well, look, from statistics, I don't think he looked too good to me. Again, the same when I looked at the stats.
Okay, so he took over the team that was 17th. They finished 4th his first year and 2nd his second year. So, again, I'm not saying that he's doing a great job right now.
So I thought you said Nice. Sorry, I didn't hear that. Yeah.
In MLS, okay. The Nice situation, if you follow the Nice situation, that was because they got a brand new owner, the current guy now. They have a brand new owner. Things got kind of out of whack. I think last year he did a fine job of what he had. This year, like Steve's saying, I'm going to say today is the first time. I'm not sure. But again, I put more, you want to be manager, and that's fine. I'm putting as much on the manager as I'm on the players, because if he puts you out there, you got to perform. And if you don't get picked the next week, then don't complain. And today, I think certain players, Olise for one, Eze for another, even Zahara for a lot. Because again, Dee T had the least amount of touches of anybody in the field. Didn't perform today. Yeah, they may have been out of position, but if you're on the pitch, you got to perform. Now, you talk about how he did a bad job. I thought last week against Liverpool, he set up fine to get a point. I thought against Brentford, he set up fine to get a point. We should have gotten all three. So I don't think there's been that many times this season where we could say he's done a bad job, but there have been times for sure. He's not a perfect manager. He's still learning. He's in the Premier League for only second season. So again, I get the getting mad at him or being frustrated about him as a manager right now because we lost a game we shouldn't have lost today. But I would say that overall, for me, he's done a decent job because I really think this team doesn't have good enough players. It just doesn't.
Yeah. You're going, sir.
Can I say something? So, Aaron, just touching on your points. I don't know if Vieira is tactically inept. I think he's definitely tactically naive. And I do think that he doesn't play the right players in the right positions 100%. I do think last season, you know, he had some players. The first half of this season, I think the first half of the season, he actually did all right considering what he had at his disposal. He ground out some results, etc., etc. I do think that he's stubborn, though. I think that he doesn't see it. Like, I think he's sort of like, you know, buried his head in the sand a little bit or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Because the stats are there that we don't create enough chances, we don't score enough goals, and we have got the players to at least create these chances.
I think that's the best point you've made. That is a great. I think he's very. I don't think he's not. I think he's very, very stubborn. I agree with that 100%. I think he feels if he does something enough, it'll change. And we see it, you know what I mean? But I think you're right. I think he's a very stubborn manager, which can be lethal in this business because you can get fired for being that stubborn.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
That's a bit, it's not, let's not act like that's a light thing as well. If you're stubborn, that's not
No, it's not good. It's not good.
It's not good. It's actually very bad because we've seen stubborn managers at Palace. I don't want to mention names, but our last manager was very stubborn. And we know the consequences because it gets predictable. But go ahead, Sam.
This is what I will say, though. So, Aaron, obviously, you're saying Vieira's not the one. And I genuinely want to know this. I'm not taking the biscuit here. Who at this stage of the season comes in and gets something out of these players? I'm not saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. I'm frustrated with him as well. But who is available to come in and get something out of these players?
Well, with regards to at this stage in the season, I'm not sure about that because I don't know who's available and who's not. But I know there are unemployed managers out there, a lot, and would be crazy to say there is no one. Who are we going to get? There's no one because there is. Yeah, there are people like Zidane, Pochettino, Tuchel, Bielsa, and there's more I could list you. But what I'm trying to say is that there are managers out there unemployed. I can make a list for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you'll see what I'm trying to say is there are people we can replace him with. But my main thing here is you guys said Patrick said, if you put you out, if he chooses you in the lineup, you've got to perform. Fine, okay. So let me ask you this then: how impressed or how would you say that Schlupp has been performing with the amount of game time that he's had, or are you? Tell me in general, overall, would you say he's been performing, both of those players? Would you say Mateta has been performing?
But that's down to him being extremely stubborn. Do you know what I mean?
So basically, but what I'm trying to say is none of those players have performed. And somehow, majority of the time, 9 times out of 10, Schlupp and I are in the starting lineup.
Yeah, but there's also been points then. There's also been points when he picked them when they've done well. We've not given him credit. Like, for instance, Schlupp played well against United, scored a great goal. We didn't give him credit for that, but we just said he's a rubbish player. I always played well in spurts, but because he doesn't do it every single match, we say he's not any good. So my point is that, like Stan said, he's stubborn. He sees something from them. He asks them to do a job. They do it for him. He sees it, but we don't see it. But there are times when both of those players have done well, but because the loss of the fan base do not like Schlupp and Ayew, that's just honest, they don't like them. They'll say that they're not any good. Should they pick Schlupp for that many games? No, but as Dee's been saying for the entire season, we didn't have a replacement. Now we have Lokonga, right? Lecomte getting picked, where Sharp would have gotten picked. But before then, let's be honest, who is he going to pick? You want to pick Hughes?
But I'm not saying they're good.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying they're good or they're not good.
Right.
I'm just saying
Right.
on their form, with the amount of game time that they've had, would you say that they've been playing good or they've performed? Say out of 10, how many times out of 10 have they performed?
I think Ayew is a 6 out of 10 all-season player. That's what he is. He's a 6 out of 10 all-season player. Schlupp probably a 5.
Okay, so there you go. You answered your own questions. Basically, it comes back to the manager. The manager keeps picking him. Why? Should I tell you why? Because you got Hughes on the bench, perfectly good centre mid before Lokonga and Ahamada came in, and he was sitting on the bench all the time. And the second he come on the field, he started to shine. He looked better. Yeah, okay, he made a couple of mistakes here and there, but when you compare it in terms of performances, much better performer overall in midfield is a natural centre mid. He's meant to be there. His positional awareness is better. Why are you playing Schlupp in centre mid?
Listen,
I would say if he gets picked, let's say the rest of the season over Ahamada, Hughes, Luka, or Decore or Lokonga, we have a problem. He's not going to get picked there anymore. So that's a moot point. He was picked the last few weeks because Zaha was out injured, right? I mean, am I wrong? He wasn't paid
the only credit I'll give Vieira, based on what you're saying, Aaron, I'll disagree, is he did drop Schlupp today when the options were available. He did drop Schlupp.
We're not sure if he was dropped, by the way. He was on the bench. He might have been sick, by the way. We're not
Southampton
sure.
just missed the penalty.
Well, I'm trying to give him the benefit. I'm trying to give Vieira the benefit.
Oh, okay, I got you.
It was a case of he did drop Schlupp. But the thing is, look, when Wilf was out injured, who could we play out wide? And that's when he goes. I get today. Look, I'm mad at Vieira today. I am mad at Vieira because genuinely we look clueless out there. But then the question also has to go to the board because we don't have a left-sided player apart from Zaha.
Right.
The fact that we had to start.
Ayew did play left side for Ghana though. He did look good playing left side for Ghana.
But come on, Aaron, come on, Schlupp. Come on, we know. We even got on to Schlupp about him playing in midfield. We know that he can't. Come on, he's not left-sided like midfield.
You know what? Schlupp is actually a left back. He is positionally a left back.
He's actually a striker. He was a striker when he was a kid, and a striker when he went to Leicester, by the way, in the academy. So I don't know what Schlupp is.
But still, end of the day, he's not. I'm talking about footballer. I'm talking about as a footballer, he's still not good enough to like. We don't have. The board hasn't backed him enough as well. Look, I'm not completely Vieira out. I know Aaron. Right. As I always say with everyone on this channel, I might have my opinion. Patrick might. Stan might. But there's nothing that's right or wrong. Some people headphones gone. Some people that did want Vieira out about 20 games ago. Fair enough. Some people that Vieira want in right now. Fair enough. Some people that are not sure. Fair enough. We want you to come on here, have your say, and let us know your opinions. So I'm not going to tell you your opinions right or wrong. For me, where I stand right now, it's the first time, as Patrick said, the first time since he has joined the club that I'm looking at him saying, what on earth was that? First time. I'm not Vieira in or Vieira out. I'm now sitting and watching because that performance was not good enough. That performance was not good enough. But then those of you that do want Vieira out, fair enough. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, how dare you want Vieira out? I will have my points to make. I would say, before this game anyways, I was saying, well, he didn't get backed enough. We had injuries. We had this and that. I had my points. You might say that's crazy. I might say that you're crazy. But it's a game of opinions. That's what football is. But yeah, I'm sitting on the fence right now as it stands anyways. But look, Aaron, there are some people that's waiting behind the scenes. Anything else that you want to add? We've got City next coming up. I'll say it's a free hit, but you want a better performance. It's not going to be easy. You want a better performance, but you're facing Man City. How do you see that one going?
I think anything's possible. Absolutely anything. Like Stan was saying, we could turn up suddenly and we can win against Man City. But for me, I just think we need 3 points. We need it sharpish because it's been too long since we've had 3 points, man. And it is starting to get worrying now, I've got to be honest. So, we could win, we couldn't win. So, well, whatever. I'm expecting anything.
You know what I will say? I mean, people are worried, etc., but I've got to the point where I've been annoyed this season and, etc., etc. And I've just got to the point now where, you know what, there's 0 point in getting annoyed. He's got the players he's got. This is what he's got to go with. He should be smarter. I agree. But if this club does get relegated, which I don't think it will, but if we do, it is because we haven't been good enough all season. That's it. Yeah. And that's the reason we'll get relegated.
Look, Aaron, thank you for coming on, bro. Really appreciate talking to you.
Thanks, Aaron, man.
Take care, man. Yeah.
Thanks,
Take
mate.
care.
Yes.
That was Aaron. Next up, we're gonna bring on Oscar. I know there's others waiting behind the scenes. We're gonna try to go through them as quick as possible. Sorry for the delay. Of course, it's a bit of a heated show. We're letting everyone have their say for as long as they want. And we're trying to keep people on a bit longer than expected today because it's not easy. It's not easy.
Southampton just scored.
Southampton just scored. Great. Yeah,
That's okay because Leicester's rubbish, so they'll be down there. Either one wins. We're good.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Oscar, thanks for coming on the show. Villa 1, Palace 0. What would you like to say?
Can you guys hear me first of all?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I mean, just what do I want to say? It's just another feckless performance from this side that should be doing better. It just feels like we're watching the same thing kind of week in, week out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just feels like nothing's changing.
Yeah, what is today? Well, the lineup did change. What do you think it is? The lineup did change. We had Zaha starting. We had Eze starting. Elise was on the pitch. We praised Lokonga and Doucouré, their midfield duo. They were also playing. Joachim Andersen, Mark Gay was there. So what do you think it is?
I mean that's the thing for me. We're putting good lineups forward by and large, but the results aren't getting any better. And I think for me, it's already been mentioned. It's how we're not playing who we need to be playing up front, because obviously we played Zaha today. He's not a striker. Like it's been said today, he should be playing on the wing. But Eze was out on the wing and he didn't perform well at all. It's just the constant kind of playing people out of position. And then when we do play a striker, we play Mateta up front, who just isn't good enough at all.
I was baffled by him coming on today, to be honest. I was absolutely baffled. You're chasing a game and you're bringing him on. I don't know what was happening.
Yeah, and again this has already been mentioned. It's the vendetta against Edouard. Like has Edouard been brilliant this season? No, but he's been better than Mateta. Like Mateta's been absolutely terrible. He has one goal in all competitions. He has one goal, and in all competitions this season, Edouard has 5. It's just confusing.
You know what I will say though, Oscar? I think I agree with what you're saying. I do think his stubbornness could come back to haunt him. It could at this stage. I'm not saying it will now, but if this continues, his stubbornness could come back to haunt him. One point I will make: Sean Derry was let go by Vieira because of the way that he handled these players or managed these players. Apparently, he went in after the Everton game, ripped him a new one, etc., etc. And Vieira doesn't do that. He approaches things differently. I think these players need to be ripped a new one. Like, I think someone needs to say, like, Olise, you can't turn up once every 3 games. Like, you've got to be more consistent. I know he's young, etc., etc. And he goes from the sublime to the ridiculous every other week, doesn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. I think there comes a time where you have to stop playing Mr. Nice Guy and go in. Like you mentioned that Derry shouted at the players after the Everton loss, as he absolutely should, because that day we were battered 3-0 by, Frank Lampard's Everton. Like, that is just absolutely unforgivable. And given these recent performances, something needs to there needs to be that push from somebody, and it just isn't coming. It seems.
Yeah, going forward, so I don't think we reached that stage yet, but I'll ask you: do you have faith in Vieira to change it about?
I do have faith in Vieira. Yeah, I don't think he's going to become like a Lampard or a Gerrard or a Solskjaer, an amazing player that turns out to be a terrible manager. We've seen what this team is capable of with him. Look at last season when we beat City away. Was probably was, I think, the best game I've seen under Vieira. And the potential is there, but just something is missing.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. Looking into the next game against Man City, it's not going to be easy because they're back on form. They're scoring. They're playing some good football, winning games. Do you think the expectations for that game has gone up after this performance? Because when you're facing Man City, no one really expects anything. But surely you expect a decent performance after what we saw today. Like, we have to at least perform well against Man City, even if we don't get a result. Because if we get another pathetic performance, another bad result after this, I mean, it wouldn't be nice at all.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is never count us out, because even in this win the streak, we've walked away with draws against, United and Newcastle, two sides that are obviously a lot better than us. But
Yeah.
I think the thing about City is that we are going to be missing Decore. And that's the scariest thing, because in the absence of Decore, we know Vieira is going to play Milivojevic, who has not played a good game all season, who should not be at the club anymore.
He might play Hughes.
I mean, he might, but I don't think he will, because like you guys have said, it's that stubbornness that Vieira has. I think he will play Milivojevic in midfield, and there is always that chance that we could walk away with something, but just given today's events, it's not looking good, I don't think, for City.
Yeah, it is. But look, thank you for coming on, Oscar, and having to say, hopefully we'll catch up with you again soon.
So I've got...
Thank you, Oscar. Take care.
Cheers, Oscar, mate.
Take care.
Nice one, fella.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries.
Guys, I've got a quote
Oscar.
from Vieira's press conference. Sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
From Twitter. Vieira, we were close to Villa. The difference between the two teams today was that own goal. Outside of that, we didn't create very much, but I don't think they created very much either.
It's a pretty honest statement. I mean, you're not going to say we played like rubbish because no manager does that, but that's pretty fair, because he's right about they didn't create much, and
they didn't have to.
That's not fair. That's not fair. That's even pissed me off even more. I wish you didn't say that. It pissed me off even more. What do you mean? What do you mean we was close to Aston Villa? Aston Villa didn't have to go in the second game because it was so easy for them. Was it close to them? Or what category? I'll read out the stats. In what category were we close to Aston Villa? Expected goals. We had 0.17. 0.17 expected goals. Aston Villa had 1.17. One whole goal above us. Ball possession. They had 58% possession. We had 42.
42. Right.
Total shots. They had 8. Double our shots. More than double our shots. We had 3. They had a shot on target. We didn't even have a shot on target. They had 4 shots off target. They had 3 block shots. I mean, we were close with them in terms of we had more red cards.
We had
more yellow cards. We had more fouls and more offsides and more corner kicks than Aston Villa. If we look at them stats, then we'll
but you see where I'm coming from, where I'm saying now he's naive and stubborn. Like, that is a naive and stubborn comment right there. There you go.
It's just, I don't like, what area was we close? What area? Big chances created. We had 0. They had 1. They had a big chance, another big chance missed. John McGinn could have scored a goal. Let's be honest. He could have scored that goal. And he should have.
Watkins should have buried a one-on-one as well.
Yeah, Watkins should have buried a one-on-one as well. So you're talking about 2 or 3 goals that they could have, let's be honest, on another day, it could have been 2 or 3, They hit the woodwork. They had shots inside the box. Like, what was close? Come on, man. Come on. He's had press conferences where he's come out and I'll be like, fair enough. That's what I wanted to hear. But that's not what I want to hear today. That's not what I want to hear today. What do you mean? We had absolutely nothing going forward. Absolutely nothing. Just say as it is. There's nothing close today about what happened with today and how we performed against Villa. Villa deserved that win. Villa controlled the game. Villa created the better chances. We weren't the better side. But look, John has been waiting. Let's bring on John. Then we're going to bring on Adam as well, because I know John's been waiting for a while. So if you guys want to join in,
Villa didn't score, by the way. We did, just so that you know.
Well, they
should have didn't even score today. So
exactly, that's my thing. They should have scored. Based on chances.
Can you hear me, lads?
Right?
Yeah, all good, fellas.
How you doing,
Frustrating game. Great show, by the way, lads. But yeah, Vieira, it's just clear to see that he's got no idea going forward, and that's Palace's problem. I think I've heard a couple of you guys say it. No pattern of plays. There's nothing that you could see within Palace that we say, okay, this is our plan when we're going forward. We've got no idea whatsoever. And even though I don't think we'll get relegated, if we do, it's going to be because of that. I mean, you look at us, like the game that we've drawn, Vieira is very good defensively. He should be the defensive coach. I think we'll have a great job if he was a defensive coach. But I say it again, like just going forward, we're poor. We don't create anything. And I think if you want to take a risk or if you want to try and win games, I'm sorry, but you can't keep on playing IU in attacking positions.
I don't think IU's the problem.
No, I don't. He's the problem going forward.
I think he's played in the wrong position, mate. I think you play him through the middle and you might get something out of him. I think he's...
Well, I understand that. Well, this is my thing, you know. Attackers are there to create and score goals.
100%.
IU doesn't do neither. So when you're in a position where you need to win games, you can't keep on players who are not giving you those results. And that's my thing. You know, I understand why he's playing because of his professionalism and what he brings to the team. You know, he wins the ball back. He starts attacks, he's pressing, everything. That's good. But then, you know, if you want to play right wing back, play right wing back if you want to do that. You know, I think
could probably
had
play anywhere on the field. You'd get a performance out of him everywhere, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think we've had younger players that are on loan that you could say, okay, like Malcolm and like Jez, where you could say, okay, you're not Premier League pedigree yet, but you know, you're forward thinking. You know, you've got an eye for a goal, you've got an eye for a pass, you've got an eye for attack. I know we don't have a great squad and a great budget, but you need to know how to use your players sometimes. And I think Vieira does that great defensively. But going forward, I say again, it's just poor. It's poor, lads. It's just not good enough whatsoever. And if you look at the goals that we scored and the amount of goals we scored compared to other people in the Premier League, I think we're near the top bottom three. And I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I think that's his only problem. And until he's ready to start taking risks to score goals, we're going to keep on drawing games or losing games.
I said that though. I said that when these players are back and fit, just because Jordan Ayew has good games in terms of he puts in a tackle, he puts in a shift defensively, you have to make a sacrifice. You have to. He's never been that guy to score goals and get assists, and you have to change it up. Look, today he brought out Schlupp, he brought off Schlupp, and he wasn't selected, and I was very happy about that because that's another player that he's been obsessed with, and he made the right decision. But going forward, I mean, it might be a bit difficult against Man City because against City, you don't want to be passed around and maybe he puts an Ayew there defensively. But more time than not, you just have to use attackers for the attacking sake. And saying that though, John, what do you think about if Ayew was dropped, who comes in for him? Because Eze started today, Elise and Zaha started today. So
well, that's the thing. That's the thing. I think with Edouard, what you have is, yes, he's not the greatest of attackers. You know, he doesn't hold up the ball, but I think you've got a natural striker who's got an eye for goal, and sometimes you need that in your team. You know, if you look at like Harry Kane, who's one of the best strikers in the Premier League, sometimes he does nothing, but he might score tapping or he might be in the right position at the right time. And Edouard has those qualities sometimes. So, you know, and so I would definitely bring in Edouard. But the other thing is, I've noticed with Vieira, none of his strikers probably feel like they're the main striker. And he done this last season, give Edouard 7 games, swap Edouard. Give Mateta 10 games, swap Mateta. Give Edouard 10 games, swap. You can't keep on doing that. You're messing up the striker's rhythm. If that's your striker, back him. Don't play one for 60 minutes and take off the other and bring on the other for 30 minutes. You need to back your striker. You need to have faith in your striker. So I would start Edouard, but at the same time, I understand why he does play Wolf up front, because Wolf's movement is much more better. If we look at today, his movement up front was better in the first half. You know, for him to get that goal that was disallowed, that was all based around his movement. So I understand why he does that. But I'm like, okay, we're not winning games. Get your goal scorers on your pitch. Edouard scores goals. Wolf scores goals. Eze scores goals. Elise scores goals and creates goals, although he's only scored 2. But you know what I mean? Get your creators and your goal scorers on the pitch. That's the only way you're going to win games.
But John, you know, you make a great point. But the thing is, he actually, and I spoke about this on one of our previous shows, probably the previous show. He did back Edouard, and I'll give you the games again. Chelsea played against, scored a goal. Leeds scored a goal.
Did he play 90
Leicester,
minutes for the
0-0.
league game? Sorry.
84-86. He played the most of the match. It's the game that he
Okay.
started. I'm giving you ones right. Leicester, 65 minutes, 0-0. 2-1 against Wolves. He scored a goal. Then we lost to we lost like the terrible game to Everton. We lost the cup game. We beat Southampton. Then we lost. Then the Forest game. But remember, he got injured right before the World Cup. So my point is, he backed in for like 6 games in a row. He was producing, but since the injury/World Cup, I don't know what's going on. I do not think it's just the fact that he was injured. I think there's something going on between him and Edouard, because clearly he did back him. He backed him for like 6, and he produced. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, he got an injury. I think it was he had a slight groin injury.
Yeah.
Then the World Cup break came, and he stopped picking him consecutively. They went back to Mateta. So
Yeah.
it's like he did back him, and then something happened. And I was talking to Dee before the show. It's got to be something personal, because it cannot be about him as a player, because like I just told you, he did produce at one point. It's like he's never done it. So something's going on, and it's not that he wants to get over, because he's not picking him anymore.
Yeah.
It is frustrating, but he did produce. But again, he's not picking him now, and it is tough to watch Mateta come on. But I'm telling you right now, he backed him at one point, and he produced, and then all of a sudden, something happened. You know what I mean?
I would. Sorry. Go, Stan.
Sorry, mate. Let me just say a couple of things. So I know the form has been shambolic, okay, but there's a stat that I just read on Twitter. Before the World Cup, we were 11th and 6 points off the drop.
And
we are currently 12th and
6 points off the drop.
Yeah,
5.
So
exactly right. I know it's ridiculous. I know. I don't get it either. It's
but I'm not saying that the form's acceptable by any stretch.
You're right. It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It's bizarre, but we look as though we're destined to potentially, please God, stay 6 points off the drop. But
yeah. I mean, look, thanks. Go on, carry on, Stan.
But what I'm trying to say about this, I just cannot get my head around this stubbornness. Like that JP substitution today, like absolutely, like it made my blood boil.
Very stubborn, yeah.
You know, but like he's got the players now. I think someone in here mentioned we're missing Gallagher. Like, are we still talking about Gallagher?
No, please no. We can't go there again. But that was an obvious comment. Obviously, we're missing Gallagher.
Yeah.
Okay, like, come on. Most teams at our level would miss a Gallagher, right? But what I'm saying is, we've got the players now. Play the players in their correct positions, Vieira. Don't be so stupid, man.
Yeah.
You know? Just, honestly, like, he's cutting his nose off to spite his face, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I agree. And Patrick, just to go back to what you're saying, about backing Mateta. Backing Edouard.
Edouard, go ahead.
Yeah, he backed him for 6 games, but for me, that's like half doing the job. You know what I mean? Like,
no, but okay. The reason he came out, though, just to be clear, was because remember he got injured.
I understand that. But
I know what you're saying. It should have gone back.
But if you're backing him, then
back him again.
Get him back in. You know,
listen, I agree.
You got injured, but you know we saw that you can get goals and etc.
But that's why I'm saying no. John, cut you off. Is that there's something? It's not him not producing. You know what I mean? It's something else. He's got, because there was a comment he made. I don't have the quote in front of me that he made yesterday about he wants to get Edouard so mad that he'll produce more. And I'm like, that's a strange comment to make. And he's never made a comment. You know what I'm saying? He's come out and said about a player, listen, mate, I'm not picking you, but when I do, I want you to be so mad. Do you know what I mean? And that's a really strange thing. You know what I mean?
Very strange.
So there's something much deeper than you're not playing. You know what I mean? That's not good for us as a club, because we needed to start playing so you can start scoring some goals. Obviously, right?
Agree. And the other thing,
sorry, John, go ahead.
Sorry. The other thing I was going to say, and I wanted to ask you guys' opinion on this. I think in terms of centre midfielders, we haven't got many creative midfielders, but I do think if we were going to play a formation to get the best out of the team, I think a 3-4-3 would work. And I say that because I think Anderson, Mark, and Richards are probably some of the best passers on the balls that we have. And I would like to see them getting the ball and punching the ball. And I reckon we could play Jordan Ayew right wing back. I reckon Tyreek Mitchell can do a job left wing back. 2 centre midfielders, Doucouré and Lokonga, whoever. And then you're playing Elise and Eze in them pockets. And then with Wilf up front, you know. I would like to see that. I don't know what you guys' opinion would be on that. But I just think defensively we'll still be solid, because we've got all of these We've got his favorite Jordan Ayew defensive player still doing his job.
Yeah.
But I think
Not a
we've
bad
got a few
shout.
good centre backs. But I also
Yeah.
think we've got good centre backs who can punch the ball
Yep.
in between the lines, and we can get Eze and Elise on the ball a bit more
On
and
the
give
ball.
them a bit more freedom. But that's just a thought, innit?
The reason why I wouldn't do that is we don't have the wing backs. I just don't think we have the wing backs. I mean, seeing Klein and Tyreek potentially, yeah, but Ty hasn't even been that great this season. So I think it's a bit of a struggle there. Saying that, I would like
Left wing
Richards
back?
just to go right. I think if you
Or
put
Richards
Richards as
right back. I would
back,
like to see that as well. Yeah, I would like to see that.
Richards as right back, I think he makes us better just like that. He might not offer much going forward, but at least we know he's a solid defensively. Today, Villa were trying to target him, especially in the first half. It was just go down that side, and they did get through a few times, and it was easy. It was nothing like Villa done like great. It was just literally to pass it, and Nathaniel Klein didn't have the pace. And again, if you put Richards there, I think you can't do that, and at least we become better defensively. But saying that, we need better fullbacks, we need better strikers, and that's why I don't think there's been enough investment. And I say this like every half an hour or like every time we do a video or show. We just haven't had the players this season, but saying that Vieira should do better. He should do better.
I agree we don't have the players. Sorry, lads. I agree that we don't have the players, but I say this again. As a coach, you got to learn how to get the best out of the players that you've got. So when you've got young players who have got an eye for goal, let's see what they can do. I say it, Jez and Malcolm, they're so forward thinking. They don't look to go backwards when they get the ball. They always look to go forward.
Malcolm can't get a game at Hull, lad. You can't get a game at Hull. That tells you a lot.
Okay.
You didn't start at Hull.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. But, Harry Kane didn't get a game when he was on loan at Leighton and all these clubs, and then he suddenly started banging in the Premier League. I'm just trying to say again, it depends on the coach.
John, John, that's a great point, man. Look at Andros Townsend. I'm trying to got so many loans people is at Tottenham. You know what I mean? It's something good. It's the right situation, right manager, right everything got to work. I don't believe in that. A player doesn't work at X club, he can't play at at Palace. People always said it was Malcolm's not playing. He plunged and he came on to 89th minute today for Lincoln. You know what I mean? People gonna say,
wasn't it Serge Gnabry that Tony Pulis said he's not good enough, and now he's at Bayern Munich. So I'm not disagreeing with you, Stan, but I'm just trying to say, it's all about the coaching. It's all about the coaching.
I think you make a fair point, mate. I'm not saying. I actually disagree that Vieira doesn't have the players. Maybe he doesn't have the players for top 10 or top 8, but he has the players to be getting better results than he is currently getting.
Creating better chances. Let's start with the basics. Not even creating better chances. As I said, the expected goals today, until Joachim Andersen had the header, was 0.07. And then after Joachim Andersen's header from that free kick or corner in the last stage of the game, it went up to 0.17. It was technically, it should have been 0.07. But you could have potentially come on there and talk about 0.07 expected goals with our best players out on the pitch. We're talking about Lise, he's worth about 30 to 40 million pounds. Zaha,
you know what I will say to you about Elise
as well. So these players are meant to be good. So you're meant to create better chances with these players. And then that goes down to the manager because he's not getting the best out of the players that we got right now. And that's what frustrates me the most today. Really.
Facts, coaching.
But I'm not saying Vieira out, by the way. I'm not. I just want to say.
No, it's not Vieira out.
I'm not yet.
If you're not winning games, Vieira, then you're gonna find yourself in a sticky position.
Yeah. Look, John, I really appreciate your call, bro.
Yeah, thank you, lads.
Great call, John. Take care.
Thank you, lad. Listen, great show. Keep it up, man. I like.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate it. You hit the like button, didn't you?
I'm a neutral, by the way. I'm just.
You hit the like button now, just making sure. Hit the like button.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a neutral, so I like to listen to different teams and whatnot. So, I just thought, I always watch Palace because I'm a South Londoner.
I appreciate it.
Wait. I gotta ask, who do you support then?
Nobody, because I'm just
You're doing the best thing. You're doing the best thing.
I respect it. That is the best thing. Yeah, I agree with that.
Saving my money and I'm saving my sanity.
You don't have a team.
Exactly.
Yeah, much better. I love that. All right, John, take care, mate. Appreciate you.
Bless.
Cheers, mate.
All right,
cheers,
take
John.
care, buddy.
That was John. Look, Adam's been waiting for a while. Let's bring on Adam next. If you guys want to join in and have your say, click on the pinned comment to join via audio or video. You can have your camera on as well if you want. And also, if you're enjoying the show and it's been a bit frustrating, if you can either like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. It takes a second of your time. Adam, you've been waiting for a while. How you doing? You all right?
What's going on, people? How you doing?
Frustrating.
Talk to us, Adam. Talk to us.
But look, Villa won, Palace 0. Another defeat for Palace. What did you make of it?
Well, let's start with a couple of release. There was a couple. Well, I won't. Let's start with how I started it. Started the match. I saw the first goal, which got disallowed, and then I went, well, we know how this is going to happen. So I will admit, I turned off. I watched the Book of Boba Fett because my kid's 9-month-old was asleep. I thought, this is the 1 hour I get. I need guaranteed entertainment. I know. I came back for the second half.
How was that? I'm going to watch it later on today. How was that?
Oh, it's not the. It's a Book of Boba Fett, so it's not the new Mandalorian thing. Apparently, it came out a year ago. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
It's Disney Plus, isn't it? Disney Plus.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
I'm gonna watch
it's
it
pretty.
Cheers,
it's pretty
mate.
decent.
Thanks for the recommendation. I'll watch it. Thank you.
Yeah, I just went.
I'm a big Star Wars fan. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
I've been enjoying it. I won't lie. I have been enjoying it. It's not as good as the Mandalorian, but I have been enjoying it. It's been nice enough. But nice enough. But I just went. I need a guaranteed hour of entertainment.
You made the right choice.
But yeah, I just saw how that was going to go, and you can't criticize that own goal. It's going to ping. It's pinball, right? We're going to say, what did Edward say about Vieira's mum to not get on the pitch? That
could be it. That could be it.
I mean, Zaha went out with Moyes' daughter. That ended that one. So we can only assume that's going to be a similar thing. I don't really know, but I will say I thought there was two positives. There's two positives because normally we do start with a few positives on the show, and I even noticed DR was a little bit down on his intro today. Yeah, so I thought we'd do a couple of positives. Come on. Let's need a couple. Right. Okay. Of course. And a couple of notes have been said. So obviously should have been on a hell of a lot earlier. Saves my fat ass from, I should have been here earlier. But MacArthur was back, and I will say, did he set that tone? He was running more than the other people, I thought. And it's a shame that Decore got sent off because I would have preferred him to be on there and MacArthur to be running his ass around. And not only that, when we were 10 people. Stan said it, we were better and 100%. But not only that, why were we pressing people hard up the other end of the pitch with 10 people more than we were when we were 11 people?
That's a great point.
That baffled me. It was good. It was a good baffle, but I was going, why were you not doing this in the 50 minutes beforehand?
Yeah.
But, that shows they need some sort of adrenaline shot into their system, some fire under their belly, someone to give them a kick in the arse. And it was mentioned again earlier, and it's something that I've been saying to Sam for ages, going, that guy that got fired, that gave him fire, that gave him a shout.
Yeah,
they need someone. I know they want to be too cool for school, but you know what? That makes them look lazy as well. That makes them lazy to go and be very passive. Okay, you want your defensive people, your centre backs and Decore to be very cool and calm and collective. You need someone to give them a little bit of a kick in the arse here and there, and that's missing. So but the 10 men, I think they did all right, and MacArthur as well. I mean, there's the other match that we were at 10 people as well. Right, and they survived for a very long time. So they've done twice.
But you know what I will say? They did well, but they still really didn't create anything. And this is my gripe. You spoke about obviously Maka, but I'm going to talk about Olise because there is so much in that kid's locker. It's just unbelievable, right? And when I think of Prime Balassi for Palace, going and absolutely putting defenders on the floor, terrorizing, creating something, causing mayhem. He doesn't do enough of that. He does not do enough of that. The amount of times that he lost out today to just not being able to beat his man or his deliveries. I mean, his deliveries were shocking.
I'm pretty sure the front lot together, when you're a kid and you're meant to do a little drawing and then you draw from number 1 dot to number 2 dot to number 3 dot. I'm pretty sure they couldn't even line that up today. They were so bad with their passing today. It was atrocious. I mean, paint by numbers would be a struggle as well. So it is frustrating. It's disappointing. I think there's a lack of and you kind of see people, they eventually get that little bit of fire and you see Olise go for a little bit of run and then the other people are just lagging behind. And then you see Zaha have his 5 minutes. then he goes for a run, and then they stop. They all seem to be trying here and there, but they're not obviously in tandem.
I don't think they're trying. I think they're just lackluster. It's lazy.
I'm just saying they have 2 minutes. I'm not talking. I'm talking about they have their 2 minutes every 45. I'm not saying that they are doing. They're trying enough. They're definitely not trying enough. I'm just saying that they have a realization that they got to do something. But there was a talk earlier about Schlupp being left back, and now he was for Leicester. But do you know where he originally tried out for 10 years ago? This was in commentary.
Striker, right?
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. So I'm just going to throw that one out there because I keep on putting Team Sorlov in the chat as well, just to throw that out there. But I'm going to go Team Schlupp now. But that's fine. Look, just so I get thrown out. But I don't know the answer. I'm just going to say I'm not going to say to chuck anyone out. That's fine. But obviously, there's someone needs to put them all in a room, and I think that it feels like there's a little bit of a break in communication there. They need a little bit of therapy to break down whatever that is. That is a shame. But there wasn't much to do, but. Yeah, unfortunately it is what it is. But hopefully Anderson will get Haaland sent off with another headbutt or something. So
we need that.
If we can go around the team,
we need it. Trust me, we need it. If we was to get a result, then we'll probably need something like that. But yeah, I think another thing that we need is more investment in the team. I need to look back. I think Steve Parish actually made a comment that, I don't know if it was him, if it's someone else, but if you don't invest enough in the league,
he did make that comment.
He did. Yeah. And I don't think we've invested enough. I don't know our net spend off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure we're bottom 3 or bottom 4 or 5 in the league. It's not all about spending. It's about bringing quality players, and we did bring some quality players, but you're seeing it's. Well, I'm not blaming the board today because we did have good enough players to perform out there and create way more chances, but we also haven't spent enough. So it's just so many problems. It starts from management. You can talk about the board. You can talk about the players. It's just not one thing in particular. But I'm talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait. Adam, sorry, one thing because the detail about spending, right? So I sent this out in our back of the net chat about the Premier League points. Premier League pounds spent per point. I'll just give you the top 5. Brentford first, 1.13 million. Second, Brighton, 1.40 million. Third, Crystal Palace, 1.52 million. Fourth, Fulham, 1.62 million. And fifth, Leicester, 1.79. Clearly, obviously, Chelsea are bottom because they spend the most. So you're right there about spending money, but we get the most we could possibly get out of the money we do spend, which is very scary.
There's 2 ways of looking about that. So I tweeted that out, and I even said, and you lot still want Vieira out. There are 2 ways to look about it. You can look at it as Brighton, they spent less. They're above us. Brentford as well, which they spent less. I don't know who was first in the table. You probably know better than me. Who's first? And let me bring the table up. In fact, I show the table as well, which is the good thing about these lads. I can find the table and show it. But we'll quickly share it there. But they have, these are factual. But then again, spending doesn't prove everything. As I said, it's not about how much you spend. It's about the players that you actually bring into the side. And
but it does show you, Dee, clearly though, that you can spend a lot of money and not get much out of it. That's clearly how showing Chelsea's bottom of this.
Look at West Ham. Look at West Ham. Yeah. I mean, they got. It
can be worse as well. Yeah, it can be worse.
It could be a lot worse. Of course, it can be worse. Life could always be worse. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah. By the way, Watford are about to sack Slaven Bilic as well. So stick that in your pipe and smack it.
But yeah, that's the table that Patrick was talking about in terms of the spending per point. As you can see, Palace are third in that. But it doesn't show. As I said, it doesn't show a full picture. Anyways, because you can make the debate about what does it mean by spending and all of that. But look, Adam, thank you for coming on to the show. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have you more.
Adam, appreciate it.
Adam, mate. Cheers, fella.
Say hello to Sam, please. Thank you.
We'll do. Keep it classy till next time, people.
All right.
Keep it classy. See you a bit.
Thank you.
That was Adam. Tim's been waiting for a while. Let's bring on Tim next. Tim, how you doing? Sorry about the wait.
I'm disappointed, guys. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we
Yep,
can hear you. Yeah,
fine,
we can hear
thank you.
Disappointed,
I mean-
yes. You can use
Fire
radical
away.
words.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I
yeah.
was. I was with you, D. I mean, I felt that. I mean, I think it's right to be angry and deeply disappointed by this performance. That was horrible. It was horrible to watch. But a couple of points. I think you could tell early on, and Stan, you may have made this point. I don't quite remember, so you could correct me if I'm wrong. But there were, what was it, 4 or 5 offside calls in the first 30 minutes of the match?
They were for Palace, right?
Just constantly going over the line, not being disciplined. And it just looked like we were as nervous, unsure, just not in the right frame of mind. And I think we've seen this too often with this team. And it does gets a little bit to the coaching. I'm such a backer of Vieira. I want him to succeed so badly, but you have to. I don't know what percentage you put on him for, and maybe that's a question for all of you. Like, what percentage do you put on Vieira, and what percentage do you put on the players?
It's 50-50, mate.
Performance. You think it's 50-50?
I think it's 50-50.
I'm with Stan on that. So I believe players need to get at least half of the
yeah,
blame.
because they were terrible today. But he was naive tactically again.
Yeah, I can't lie. Today I'm going more. I've majority of the time I've said this on the players, and I haven't really questioned Vieira like that. I've questioned them, saying why has Schlupp started, why has this happened. But today, tactically, I honestly, they didn't create that many chances. It's not like they had an XG of like 2 or 3, but they created more chances than us. And to be honest, they could have probably scored another goal or 2, and we had nothing going forward. And today, yes, you can blame it on the players, so we had nothing going forward, but he started Zaha up front, which takes away our best player getting into the game as much. He started Eze out wide. He's the one that coaches his team week in, week out, and we didn't seem like we had any clue going forward in terms of like, you go there, you know, once Eze gets the ball, you overlap that. It looked like a bunch of individuals trying to create something, and we looked lost out there. So for me, I'm leaning more towards Vieira in this game, and this is the first time ever since he's joined that I've seriously questioned his tactics and like what I saw today, because I don't think the tactics were there, and I'm just thinking, what on earth do we have? What on earth are we working on during the week?
Sorry, D, can I make a quick point? And I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that this person was a better manager than Vieira, but our previous manager got far better results out of Eze than Vieira has.
Yeah.
He did. And that's a fact. That's facts.
And is that playing him Eze out of position?
No, because he played him in his rightful position.
Yeah, because he's playing him in the right position.
Wait, hold on. I could have sworn
he played out wide. Eze played out wide.
Yeah, I'm
Eze
sorry.
played out wide.
Eze didn't play in the
middle as much.
He did.
What about when he scored those two worldly goals, each of them against Sheffield United?
He drifted inside on both of those. I'm telling you, he was playing out wide.
It was like
that's why I hated it, because he played out wide.
He played him out wide.
Okay, my bad.
Okay.
Yeah. Then he got played him out wide. And this guy,
I mean, I've got another question for all of you, because here's the other thing. In addition to the nervousness, the thing that is interesting to me, and Adam was talking about this with Macca. I don't know who the Jedi is on this team. Not the Jedi as in like Star Wars, but like, who is the enemy? Right? Like,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Who is that? Who is the one that kicks everybody in the ass and raises the performance up on the field?
I think you've got Anderson. I think he can do that. Mark Gay, but it's a different generation of players as well. You got to understand that.
But Tim, you make a great point though, because I have to agree with Tim, because back then you had Damo, you had Jedinak, you had. I mean, we had some leaders back there. You had Punch. Jason Punch was a ridiculously good leader on this team. As much as I love Gahey, I think Gay's a great captain. He hardly spoils when you use talkings when last time I see him go to the referee and talk to the referee. But on the pitch, it is not very loud. And D, you go to the matches, I bet you never hear Gahey talking in those matches. He leads by example, which is fine. But we don't have a player that will scream and yell. Macca, I think, is the best example. I mean, if you guys remember during COVID, you'd hear him from the sideline screaming.
Yeah, I remember
matches,
that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I agree, though. We don't have a leader like Jedi. Now, Jedi was an extraordinary leader. My guy captain his country, captain has the promotion. We need someone like that because I always find that in these times like now, the players have to, within themselves, have to figure out a way to get this done. And I think in our team, we're lacking that leadership. We have good players, but not great leaders.
I mean, just to build on that, Patrick, I think when you see some of the aimless play like that we showed on the pitch today, like that, I mean, you guys tell me, but I think that's the thing that a field general sorts that out. A field general sorts that out and gets people running in the right direction, kicks them in the ass, gets, reestablishes the patterns of play and does a job on the field, including that may mean making a really hard tackle and just setting everybody up and just like, hey, look, let's get back under control here. I mean, I agree with Vieira in that there's quality in this squad, and I like a lot of players on the team, but when the nervousness was so palpable, Elise's blasting balls that we would like to see him deliver that delicious cross right into the box, right? Instead, he's blasting it, 40 yards.
See why he doesn't deliver these balls consistently. Like, he's good enough to do it.
It's strange, man.
But the thing is, there's no plays in the box. Like, deliver it to you.
You know what, though? It will cause some commotion. It could create something. Do you know what I mean?
An own goal, possibly, like
an own goal. But that's the problem, though. When we don't have anyone in the box. We don't have a striker in the box. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. Deliver it to you. Like, he's gonna start delivering the balls. I get it. We want something different because we're desperate to create chances, and it's a case of, all right, that's not working. At least just deliver the balls into the box. But for who? Like, Villa are not a bad side. I know we scored our own goal, but the chance of us. The fact that we're relying on our own goal to score goals is just, it's crazy. It's crazy because there's no one in the box. There is no one in the box. And I think that's our problem. And I want to look at the heat map, actually. I'll look at it whilst you guys are talking because I wonder where Zaha was playing in terms of his actual heat map. I wonder how many times he was actually in the box because we wasn't in the box as a team. So I know he drifted out wide as well. Towards the end of the game, but he was just trying to create something out of nothing. But he was pretty much played out of position, and I don't know what we worked at all week long. Because that was just very annoying to watch, especially tactically. But for you, Tim, going forward, City, we've got Brighton, Arsenal, difficult run of games, but we have to pick up points. The positive is against teams that are better than us. We seem like we have picked up points. Are you optimistic that we can still pick up a point or two out of them games?
I mean, it would be so Palace if we did. Like, wouldn't it be it would be typical Palace for us to pick up 2 draws out of those 3. I have a hard time predicting that, but that would be so us to do something ridiculous like that and show up. Because here's the other thing that's interesting, to me at least, is that it's not like this team is incapable of creating chances. There were 2 golden chances in the Liverpool game that, for reasons I still can't understand, that Mateta couldn't bury.
Right.
So, like, we are able to do that. There's enough talent in the squad, but I think I agree with. I mean, Dee, I'm with you that I'm getting frustrated with Vieira, but I mean, the back line, at least the back 2 in Anderson and Gueye are terrific. Mitchell sometimes has some terrible games and he gets beaten over the top way too much. Kleiny puts in a good shift most of the time. I wouldn't predict us to get a bunch of points, D, but I wouldn't be surprised if we got a couple of draws out of it,
Yeah. Just like we've been doing so far. That's the fun thing. Is that
that's the story of the season. The story of the season. Draw FC.
Today. Yeah. Apart from today. Look, thank you for coming on, Tim. Really appreciate it. Sorry about the wait.
Great show, guys.
Thank you, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Take care.
Dee,
did you see it? I sent it to you. See the heat map?
Yeah, I'll bring up the heat map.
Because look where he's playing. Look where he played mostly. You're gonna love this.
He went out wide, but
wide, exactly right.
So but that's our desperation. That's not desperation.
I'm just saying, though, he played out wide anyway. So
He didn't, not completely. He had touches through the middle as
no,
well.
mostly you see that red spot. That red spot is out wide.
He had a few red spots through the middle as well.
Listen, maybe your eyes deceive you, but most of those are to the on my feet.
But he didn't start out wide, Patrick. He was starting through the middle.
I didn't say it. You asked for the heat map on. Who asked it? Me or you? I gave it a heat map. The heat map clearly said he plays out wide. So what's your point?
No, he didn't play out wide.
Show the people. Show the people.
He touched the ball.
Show the people. Show the people.
I will show the people. I'll show the people. I'll show the people. Let me bring on Rich. Let's not keep him waiting. If you guys want to join in and have your say, click on the pinned comment. If you're enjoying the content, leave a like and subscribe. Let's keep growing the channel. Rich, what's going on, bro? You there?
Yeah, I'm here, bro.
Show the heat map.
Let Rich have a say. What's going on? Villa 1, Palace 0. Another defeat. Win once again. For you,
two back to back, no shots on target. There's just so many things going wrong. Even the aspect of Vieira coming out and obviously exposing what's happening with Edouard, like it's unwanted news at this moment in time. You know, fair enough. If Eddie's not pulling his weight or if he's got an attitude issue, fair enough. I get it, but we don't need that in the public domain at this moment in time, like because we're not in the best of forms. We're not in the best of forms. My biggest concern is the lack of fight. I know we're not creating chances as well, which is the problem, but it's as if there's no fight, there's no passion, there's no desire. I'm glad Mac is back, by the way. I know, Patrick, you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
He's probably the only leader we have in that dressing room.
Yep.
True leader. You know, so if it means he starts every game from now on, just to give us a lift, so be it. You know, I know he's 34 years old, but really we just need someone to really just carry us through this bad patch, because it's fortunately, obviously, results have gone in our favour, which keeps it 6 points. But how many players are out there that you would say, actually, you know what, I'm going to trust you in this relegation sort of battle?
So, Rich, I'm going to pull you up one. I'm going to pull you up. I mean, it's all show, but you said a bad patch. I'm going to go back to again. Man United twice, Newcastle, Brentford, Liverpool. Out of that, we got 5 points. I know we haven't won since Bournemouth. No one can tell me that fact. I know it's 1 in 10. And today was awful. But I have to say again, those fixtures are they're horrendous for anybody in our position. So you say a bad patch. I'm not going to agree with that at all, because again, though we didn't win those matches, we got, and Brighton too. Oh my God, I forgot Brighton. We got 5 important points there. We did not get a win, but I just think that those fixtures have skewed, and I understand it, everyone's viewpoint and how this is going, because those are hard fixtures. If that was Southampton, Leicester, Everton, Villa, which it was West Ham, I would say, oh my God, man, we're going down. But those fixtures have been horrible, Rich. They've been terrible, and they don't get any better. Don't get me wrong, because City, Arsenal, better, but they will in April. And I cannot wait for April to come for many reasons. One, the weather's much better in America in April. But when we play Leicester, Leeds, Southampton, Everton, Wolves, West Ham, I'm going to promise you didn't see Dee before the show. He was furious. We go through that streak in April, as bad as it is now, not winning. Trust me, I'm going to be lit. But right now, I'm going to keep it calm, because I believe the fixtures are as big a problem as how we're playing. But I'm going to say again, in April, it has to turn around. It has to. But right now, I can't go that crazy. As much as I'm upset today, because the fixtures are just, not Villa today. Villa today was rubbish. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to take a bit more perspective on the whole since February thing. It hasn't been as bad. We just haven't won.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. The fixtures have been terrible, Patrick. But when would you say was our last very convincing performance?
I only thought Brentford was very convincing till the 96th minute. I really thought I thought Brentford was brilliant. I really did. So
it was a decent defensive display. We
scored a great goal. I mean, for us, again, we're not Man City, we're not Arsenal. For our level, I think going to Brentford, putting that performance, getting a great goal from Eze with a great ball from Olise, a good team goal, being up 1-0 tonight, I thought that was a good performance. Before then, honestly, Bournemouth, and then before then, we're going back to Southampton. Southampton at home maybe. There haven't been that many good performances this season, so you're not wrong. I'm just saying that if I'm reaching, I'm going to say Brentford away. If I'm reaching again, I'm going to say Bournemouth away. But you're right. There haven't been good performances. But again, at this point in the season, I don't care about performances, man. Give me some points. But I do understand your point, Rich. I do understand your point.
I think what matters is when you talk about performance and results, the results were fine because we didn't have Zaha. We didn't have our best attacking player out on the pitch. And Eze was out of form as well. So he was coming off the bench and he wasn't playing as much. So it's kind of like, all right, cool. We have basically got nothing. So we just have to stay in these games and get points here and there. But I think where the frustration comes from me anyways today is the fact that we had our best players back. We had an opposition in front of us that are a good side. Don't get me wrong. Since Emery's coming, they are a good side. But you expect to go more toe-to-toe with them than we saw. And yes, I understand what you're saying, Patrick, about the run of games in April. And hopefully this is a one-off. But if we're playing like this against Aston Villa...
Oh, no, it won't get better. It won't get better.
Well, if it won't get better, then I don't know why you're looking forward to April.
No, but I said, based on what you said, I'm saying it won't. If we play it, I'm saying it won't get better based on what you're saying now. Basically, I'm not saying that it can't get better. I'm saying if we play, of course it won't get, but I have to have that hope. What the hell am I supposed to play for? I'm not going to have that hope we're going to get better in April.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we play like this, then that's all.
Man City.
Today genuinely scared me. Because I'm thinking, we've had April and then we're going to kick into... But I wanted to see a bit more today. Let's say it's a one-off. Let's say Zaha came back and he's getting back to it and, Eze's first start in a while as well. Let's use that excuse. And hopefully we do bounce back against April. But then again, I don't want to use that excuse. But if we're trying to be like positive and look forward, let's hope this was a one-off. Because if it wasn't a one-off, then we've got a scary end to the season. Into the season because trust me, people are going to be very upset. And when I say people, me anyways, I'm going to be very upset if we have performances like that against the likes of Leeds and even against the likes of Leicester and all them other teams that we should be, competing with at least. Because today what Vieira said really annoyed me because I don't think we were on level with Villa. Like we was nowhere near Villa today in terms of,
and they weren't even any good. So it wasn't much it wasn't much.
But they didn't have to be good. They controlled the game. They control the game, man. And by the way, they were good. They were good because they stopped us from creating chances. But I think it's more on us anyways because we just look lost out there. But they don't have to be good. And that's the worrying thing. If we have performances like that and teams don't have to be good and get wins against us and don't have to go into second gear, then that's not good enough. You get it? That's not good enough. So
I know, but they weren't good.
So
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich. Sorry.
That Sean Derry decision now. Do you think that's playing the part?
No,
someone brought it up before, and I don't think it has. Honestly, I mean,
the reason why go on.
Let me just. The funny thing is, Rich, I spent a lot of time before we hired Vieira. When we did to watching there's a very good documentary on YouTube about his time at Nice. It's all in French. You gotta read the subtitles. But if you watch that, he does like into his team sometimes. He went ballistic a few times at halftime on his team. So the fallacy that he doesn't get upset is wrong. But he wants to be the one to do it, not somebody else. That's the difference. Gotcha. Vieira will light into players. Again, if you get time, it's like 10 episodes. Go and watch it. It's from the season like 4 seasons ago before he came to Palace. I'm telling you right now, he will light into his players. He did it a few times. The thing is, he wants to be the one because he wants to be the one to praise the players. You know, like a parent is, I'm going to be the one to praise you. I'm going to be the one to discipline you. You can't discipline my child, that kind of thing. That's how he is. That's what I think he is. So, I don't think he doesn't want to do that. I think he doesn't want Sean Derry doing it because maybe Sean Derry will use a different way of doing it, maybe too much language doesn't want to use. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think the fallacy that he's like lying to his players, I think is wrong. I don't believe that for one bit because I've seen him do it. And
also that's what we've heard as well. Like there might be more about it that we don't know about that hasn't become public in terms of what went on behind the scenes. But I have no problem with him getting rid of Sean Derry because I said this when he got rid of Derry. I said it if results don't go our way, and then who does the blame go on? The manager. So if he feels 100%. It feels like he's not good enough for the coaching staff and what he's trying to do, then good enough. Like cool, that's good enough for me for him to get rid of a coach. As much as Derry's helped us through the academy level and even first team, that's his decision because he's gonna have to pay the price when results don't go our way. And right now, who we're talking about? We're talking about Patrick Vieira.
Patrick Vieira.
Exactly. So for me, that's his decision. I respect him actually for that. I respect him because that must not be easy decision to make. Someone who knows the club, someone who's been part of his coaching staff, since he's joined in, someone who he promoted to that role because he wasn't at that role before at Palace. He wasn't a first team coach. Vieira done it, and he's the one that pulled the plug. So I do have respect for Vieira for that, and I don't think today we should be talking about Sean Derry as much because there's bigger problems than Sean Derry. Like it's the manager. I think Vieira, we've seen him as a player. Like if he wants to be turn on the ugly side, he can turn on the ugly side. He can be nasty. But if that's not his approach and he doesn't want to do that with management, then fair enough because the results are on him, the performance are going to be on him, and at the end of the day, he will get the sack, not Sean Derry, if results go against us. So I respect him for that. But look, Rich, looking ahead to the next game against Man City, we got Man City, we got Brighton and Arsenal. I'll say it'll be typical Palace, but we have actually performed decently against. We have performed decently against some of these tough opponents when Zaha and Eze wasn't starting. So does that give you a bit more optimism?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm hoping so. It's a tough. It doesn't help that it's 3 games in 1 week as well. You know, that doesn't help.
Out of the way, honestly.
Could be that, yeah, too. We've literally got to get through the next 3 games and just hope we can still maintain at least a 6-point gap, and then obviously navigate the rest of the games of the season. As you said, Dee, it'll be typical Palace that we go and end up winning one of these games that we're not expected to, you know. But this is why I felt like today's game was important, just to show a bit of fight, you know. We fought hard against Liverpool just a week ago, you know, and come to pull up such a poor performance now. It is it's not looking good, but we got to see.
Hopefully we bounce back. But look, we appreciate you coming on, bro.
No, I appreciate it as always. Keep up the hard work, man. Excellent stuff.
Take care. You too as well.
Take care.
Take care, Richard. D, I wanna read some. Please don't get mad at me, all right? So there are further.
Can you hold that? Can you hold that? The reason why I'm saying hold that is I need to quickly do something. So, but there is someone waiting. Can you just take over the calls? Like there's Chris that's waiting.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll be back. Is that fine? All right, cool. Yeah. So I'll be back in a few minutes.
Chris, welcome to the stream. How are you today?
Hi, Patrick. Hi, guys. Yeah, really frustrated. You know, unfortunately, I didn't want to hear myself saying this, but I'm thinking Vieira out now. You know, I feel after 18 months, more than 18 months at the club now, we don't have any identity, bro. I don't see what style of football we played, even under Pulis or under Roy. You know, we were defensive, we were counter-attacking, you know, high block, whatever, but there doesn't seem to be any style of play. My friends who are not Palace fans, they ask me like, what style do we have? I don't even know. You know, right. that's the biggest issue, and also the persistent use of certain players. You know, like player favourites. You know, doesn't do anything. He doesn't score enough goals. I know he runs around a lot, but shouldn't that be the basic fundamentals of any Premier League footballer? You know, it's just, you know, I've tried to be patient with him, but we've got a really good crop of young, talented players. Elise, you know, Zaha. You know, there's so many players. This is the best potential we've had for a long time. Yes, the board could put some money into the club, and that's something, but he's not getting the best out of the players. I feel that the players have actually digressed under his management, you know.
So I want to wait till D gets back, but I want to share a part of a quote from the post-match regarding our style of play today, and I want you to react to it, okay? This is from Patrick Vieira. So he said, with the first chances we created, and with Wilfred and the goal we scored, that was our plan, to expose the back four. Wilfred away from home playing in that position has been really good for us. It was our plan to stretch their back four because we knew centrally it would be difficult to find space. This is what we tried to do. So your thoughts on those comments?
Well, you know, that happened once, and look, we were unlucky. You know, look, it was just slightly off. But why didn't we carry on doing that same approach? You know, that was literally the only time I can remember we did that in the whole game. So, and again, it's at half time what was said to the players, because I know, look, we went down to 10 players, and it's you know, away from home, it's very, very difficult. But it's just, I don't see where the goal's coming from, you know. against Liverpool last week. Should have won that game again. Questions about playing people like Mateta. Eduardo hasn't had a real run of games. He scored a few goals. He got dropped. So again, that's down to the manager. What are they being coached as well on during the week? Just the patterns of play. Just it's even under Roy. At least we used to counter and nick a goal. I could see us scoring. In games where we were under the pump. Only 25-30% possession, but just can't see where the next goal is coming from. Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, I understand the frustration because if luckily we didn't have the show rolling before we started because Dee and I were going back and forth, and I get the frustration at Vieira. In the past, I'm going to try and be honest for a change. I've really only wanted 2 managers out, and that would have been I didn't even care. Actually, I didn't even bother me with De Boer. It was really Hodgson towards the end because I didn't like you talk about the style of play. I was definitely bored, and I was definitely afraid we weren't going to ever attract any young players or play any young players. And then Pardew at the end, I thought Pardew did a fantastic job at the beginning. Towards the end, he was I don't know what he was doing. He was way too cavalier. We're letting goals in left and right, especially that Swansea 5-4. So I'm not really one to go anti-manager very soon. I'd still have to give Vieira the rest of the season, and I would even give him next season. But my thing is, if you're going to get rid of Vieira, whether it be now or end of the season, do you have any, I'm going to be fair, any realistic options as a manager to replace him?
That's a very good question. And you know what? To be honest with you, I've got one name. It's a bit controversial, and this is all kind of fantasy, and it's given their current situation and his history with other clubs. But Graham Potter, if he ever got sacked from Chelsea, I'll take him in a heartbeat. I know you're going to laugh, but
no, I'm not.
telling you,
honestly, that for me, if he leaves, is a tremendous shout because I love Graham Potter. I don't care about Chelsea. Can't stand them. That's a great shout. That is I would
pick him up myself from Stamford Bridge.
Right. The thing is, though, it's going to be money because he's on a tremendous wage at Chelsea. If they were to sack him, which the reason I believe they don't sack him now because he's on a ridiculous 5-year, £6 or £7 million a year. It's a ridiculous deal. Parish is never paying that kind of money. But that's a great shout. Listen, we could talk about Brighton hating all you want, but honestly, Chris, that's a great shout. I love Graham Potter as a manager. I think he develops young players, has a style of play. No, Chelsea right now, they kind of have no style of play. They have too many bloody players. Is their problem. That's their problem. But Graham Potter is a great shout. He's not available right now, but that's a great shout. So, Dee, we're talking about...
I think realistically, the only time we'll ever get him is if he gets sacked in the next few weeks. If he gets sacked in the summer, then there's going to be other clubs involved in it. It will be something very, very quick that we get through the back door. But I just don't know. I can't. You're right. If we sack Vieira, I just feel that this season we're literally for the last 2 months we've been sleepwalking our way to relegation. If it doesn't happen this season, unfortunately, if the board don't make any changes, or if we don't get the right players in, we're going to get relegated next year. And I said this many years ago, but look at Stoke City. Their fans, I guess, were in the Premier League for just over a decade. And maybe I look at clubs like Brentford, they've done more in 18 months than we've done in 10 years. They've got ambition. What style for the last 10 years? We're happy just to stay up. Is that it? It's just really frustrating,
Chris, that's a great point. But Dee and I have talked about. That's on the board, though. I can't put that on the manager.
That is on the board, but
that's on the board. So
lack of ambition. Lack of ambition. I look at Brighton have overtaken us now by miles. Brentford have overtaken us. Fulham. Look at Fulham. Fulham have been relegated twice since we've been got up. But look, at least they came with a plan, and they're going to be finishing probably in top 7.
Right.
Chris, one thing I'll do say is 100% agree. 100% agree because if you do watch the channel, I've said it many times. Like the board, they haven't invested enough for Patrick Vieira, and in general, I feel like you need to have investment. If you don't have proper investment, you're just going to take a step backwards. And last season was very good. It's the first time ever we spent that much crazy money, but we got rid of a lot of players. So what I think is going to happen this summer, and what I think is the plan anyways, is the fact that we have players running out of contract. Now, I'm not saying this is a good enough reason for us not to spend in the first place, but it's once again, we're going with the cheaper option or going with the lesser risky option. So we basically written the season off, tried to go get loan signings, and that's what was our ambition because Steve Parish came out before the window even opened in January and said that we're looking at loan moves. And I think the pure reason for that is the amount of players that we have out of contract. It gives us that flexibility to bring in more players in the summer. Now, I 100% agree. It's still not good enough because Vieira, at the end of the season, at the last game at Selhurst Park, he did say we want to be more ambitious and push onwards. And I feel like he's been let down this season because we brought in the likes of Richards and Decore, who have been fantastic for us. But Richards and Decore is still not good enough. It's not good enough. I mean, that we needed players in different areas and we still needed to strengthen. Because right now we're talking about players from the Roy Hodgson era that weren't good enough, still playing for us this season. And I'm not using that as an excuse today. Today, as I said, I think it's the first time since Vieira's joined, I've looked at Vieira and said, what on earth was it? Like, what have we worked on this week? Because it was absolutely pathetic going forward. But in terms of recruitment, I feel like this summer it's going to be massive because if the board don't spend, I'm done with them. I'm done because there's no excuse.
We'll get relegated. There's no two ways about it. It's becoming more competitive. We're lucky this season that we'll probably not get relegated purely because there is so many bad teams down there, and that's just and the fact that we picked up a lot of points before the World Cup, but it's going to happen, unless things drastically change. And what's going on with the stadium as well, development, all of these things. It's just so many things are just up in the air. Other clubs, they just get it done. It's just everything gets delayed with us.
Exactly, but it doesn't help that we have one of our ownership group that wants out of the club. I mean, with Harrison Blitzer, because whenever a big Premier League club is available, they're after them straight away. That doesn't help.
100%.
It probably doesn't help that John Texter came out publicly, well, not publicly, but there was leaks about, we have money to spend and Steve Parish not spending it. There was a clear disagreement there, and we have another owner that was, leaking out stories like that. I mean, even the owners right now that we have, it's like we have other minority owners that we don't even know about. Is what is objective? Because we have one group, Harrison Blitzer, who clearly don't want part of this club, who clearly have big ambitions. And if you don't want part of something, surely you're not going to see the long-term objective. You're not going to think, let's spend money, let's try to build it on. And then you have Texar, who I think has the ambitions, but I don't know exactly about the funds and how it's going to manage to fund like 3 or 4 teams. And you have Parish, who's going to think sensibly. Well, I think so anyway. He's going to think sensibly and not going to want to spend big amounts of money and put us in a sticky situation if we don't have that money. So it's just a confusing situation. But look, saying all of that, in the summer, they have to spend. They have to spend because last season, we were coming on these shows and we might have been angry at some of the games. Not angry, we might have been a bit disappointed, but it was positively. Like, we were coming on here talking about draws and we were playing about having great performances, FA Cup run, and, we've been unlucky. We should have picked up more points. This season's been the complete opposite. Right now, we're talking about relegation. I thought when Vieira joined, that relegation talk was all over. There's no way we're going to talk about relegation once again, and based on what we saw last season. But the reason right now we're talking about relegation is because of the fact that we haven't spent enough. Now, I don't know exactly the net spend. I need to bring it up because I say this every single time, and I'll bring it up in just a second. But it's not good enough. We had to build on that. We had to build on what we built last season, but we didn't. Instead, we decided to go with a cheaper option. I don't know for whatever reason that was, but we didn't spend enough. And that's the most frustrating thing. It's like, when are you going to show a bit of ambition? You showed it in the one window that you had when Patrick Vieira first joined the club. But that's not good enough. One window is not good enough. Saying that, they've got another massive summer to make up for it. So let's see if they can shut us up, if they can say, you know what, we had a plan and look at all these players that were brought in. Or let's see if they let us down again. Because if they do let us down again, I think a lot of the fan base will be against the board. And right now, some of them are already frustrated. And I'll say rightly so, because it won't be good enough if we don't spend in the summer as well. It'll be pathetic. It's like sleepwalking into relegation. But look, frustrating game, frustrating results. Sorry about that.
And also, when Burnley get promoted next year, which they will, they're going to be outplaying half the teams, in the Premier League with this new style of football they've got, and that's just going to be another little kick in the teeth. Because look, they're going to be flying next season. They're not going to just stay up. I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing bits. So it's frustrating. Just teams are just catching us up. It's just a lack of ambition on and off the pitch now, and something needs to be done about it. Otherwise, we've got the catchment area. We've got, we're the only club in South London. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't understand why Every time it seems like something good is happening. It's like snakes and ladders.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But let's see what happens in the summer anyways. But look, Chris, appreciate you calling into the show. Hopefully,
Cheers,
we
Lex.
Chris, really appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
Have a good weekend.
Take
care.
That was Chris having to say. If you guys want to have your say, well, to be fair, I'm looking to end the show because we've been talking for 2 hours. God knows how long.
Yeah, one more thing, please. As Joe Henderson said, thank you, Joe. D, still waiting for that heat map. I sent it to you, bro. Where is it?
All right, cool. So I'm going to show the heat map right now.
Make your point.
I'm going to show the heat map. I'm going to show the heat map. But if you guys want to have your say, feel free to click on the pinned comment. You can join via video or audio.
No, we want to end the show. What do you do? You say you want to end the show?
No, but
hour and 45 minutes. It's the longest show in history.
Probably, longest show in history.
And we got to do the play ratings after, mate.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
But if you haven't already subscribed, make sure to subscribe.
That's
as well.
different. Yeah, hit the like, please. Hit the like.
Yeah. Okay. So let's show this heat map. So can you see the screen?
Yes, I can, sir.
So that is Za's heat map.
Oh, mostly on the outside. Interesting.
Yeah, but his starting position was up front. As you can see, can you see my mouse as well?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So what I'm looking at right now, so the heat map. Look,
but D, be fair, that's most of right there. That's it, right? That's the
but Patrick, he didn't start him out wide. He didn't start him out wide. He was
I didn't say he started wide. I'm saying, but he played mostly to the left. That's what I'm telling you.
No, he tried to go out wide because he wasn't getting any of the ball. But saying that, like his starting position being out wide and him going to the left is two different things. He was a striker for us today.
You're right.
He's
so
I'm a striker for us. It was Eze. It was Eze that was out wide. And looking at Eze's heat map, let's compare both of them because we can do that. Look, it's too crowded. Like that's the problem. I mean, Wilf is trying to get involved in the game, and he's moving out wide, as you can see on the right hand side. He's trying to move out wide with the mouse. Like he tried to touch the ball in them areas, but that occupies Eze's area. And what happens is when we have players going into this is not a tactics show, but when we have players who try to cross the ball into the box, Wilf is trying to get involved because he barely touched the ball. But then again, he moves him out of position. He's not a striker. Just start him out wide.
I shared it with Chris. Chris, by the way, great call, by the way. About what Vieira said post-match about the tactics. About what were the tactics? Listen to what he said.
I'll say
just listen. With the first chances we created, and with Wilfred and the goal he scored, that was our plan, to expose the back four. Wilfred away from home, playing in that position, has been really good for us. It was our plan to stretch their back four, obviously right, but getting out wide, because we knew essentially it would be difficult to find the space. That's why you have Eze and Zaha wide. That's what we tried to do. Didn't say it worked. That's what he was trying to do.
Sorry.
Wide. So that was his plan. It didn't work. That was the plan.
Sorry. Can you repeat that once again? I just want to take in.
Oh my gosh, really? I thought you were gonna trash me. Sorry.
No,
with the first chance that we created, and with Wilfred and the goal he scored, that was our plan, to expose the back four. Wilfred away from home, playing in that position, has been really good for us. Liverpool, for example. Wait. Let me. Wait.
What did he say? Liverpool. Did he say Liverpool as an example, or are you saying that?
I'm saying that. Liverpool away.
Okay.
He did it. Against Liverpool away, he's got a great goal.
Okay, but Liverpool away was about 20, 25. Like how many games? Like it was basically at the start of the season, and he's played up front there. So I'll stop you there. We can do this. He hasn't been good up front. I'm not saying it's Will's fault.
I'm not arguing that point. No. You're missing my point. I said that was what he. I'm not saying. I think that's what he was trying to do. I didn't say he did it. I'm just saying what he tried to do. The heat map, by the way, clearly states that they're trying to pull the back four, especially the central, wide. That's why you see Eze and Zaha wide. But they finished the rest. It was our plan to shred the back four because we knew centrally it would be difficult to find space. He felt that heat map, telling you the truth, there was no space in the middle of that pitch. There was no space. Drag Konsa wide. Drive Mings wide and create space. It didn't work, but I'm saying that's what he tried to do. It didn't work. Tactically, the players didn't either execute it properly or whatever. That's what they were trying to do, was to stretch the back four. It did not work. The ball that...
but every team wants to stretch the back four. That's not rocket
No,
science.
that's
he
not
wants
true.
to stretch the back four.
No,
Villa
did try to stretch our back four today. Villa wasn't trying to do that today. They were playing the ball out wide. They weren't stretching our back four. They were playing the ball out wide.
Yeah, but then again, if you want to cause them problems, you don't put Wilf in a. Here you can look at it, heat maps once again on the screen, but like Wilf and Eze's heat map, Eze should be playing through the middle. they're getting in each other's ways. Like I don't know what we're trying to. It's too predictable. Like
buddy, I understand what you're saying. I'm just trying to say to you, at least he's trying to say what they were trying. I'm not listen. Manchester have tactics every day, have ideas. You know what? And they don't work. Clearly today didn't work. He was trying to do that. It didn't work. He understand. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's what
yeah, but then he comes on, but he talks about after the game saying we was close to Villa. We weren't close to Villa.
That's nonsense.
We weren't close to Villa. We weren't close to Villa.
That was nonsense. That was nonsense. I agree with that. That was nonsense. I agree with that. That was nonsense.
And all right, ignore the Vieira comments. Did it look like we knew what was doing out there today? Because for me,
I felt like we were definitely trying to stretch it back forward by playing balls to Wilf in spaces in between Konsa and Cass and Mings and
okay.
Moreno.
But when I said that, you didn't say this until Vieira said it. Now it wasn't as easy. Now that Vieira said it, now you're saying we were trying.
I haven't talked about tactics all day though. But I haven't talked about tactics.
Yeah,
all
I know.
day.
But I brought it up, and you didn't say that. Oh no! In fact, we was trying to stretch the ball out.
Well, because honestly, one, I wanted to know what he was trying to do, and two, I told you I was going to be very quiet today because you're in a bad mood. I said that before. I wasn't gonna have. I don't want to have an argument with you about it. So, I mean, that's where we are. So anyway, that was. Let's end, as they say, end the stream.
They're saying continue the stream, but we're gonna end it anyways. Look, thank you to everyone who tuned in today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Please.
It's been a nearly 2-hour show. Some great calls today. I really appreciate every one of the calls, every one of the comments that you guys have been sending. Of course, for all the comments, it's hard to go through them as well as the calls as well. So. If you want your say to be 100% heard, as much as we try to bring the comments up, make sure to call into the show. You can call in via video or audio. I feel like everyone thought today you could only call in audio. It's like the first time this happened. Even Rich shows video. So yeah, you can call in via video as well. You have the option there. We prefer it to video. But look, thanks to everyone anyways that's called in. Thank to Patrick, Stan, and everyone who's helped out as well with the show. We will be back for the player ratings. We're going to record that. It's not going to be fun, is it? Because it's not going to be fun because there isn't that many good ratings to give. But yeah, look, we'll have more content coming out throughout the week. If you have enjoyed it, leave a like and subscribe. That's it from me and Patrick. And until next time, up the Palace.